Hi everybody, this is Peter. Today I'm going to be looking at a couple of curling board games. So that's kind of a niche market inside a niche market. So both of them are really fun. The first one I'm going to look at is Shot Rock Curling from Hot Stove Games, available through the ASG Games website. And the second one I'm going to look at is T-Line Curling, which is one that was just developed and it's available for free. Yeah, so I guess we'll just start with Shot Rock Curling. Like I said, it's available through Hot Stove Games, developed by Brian Martin, and I think it was came out in 2010. And good thing about both games is that they both need 2 D10s to play, so which is nice. So with Shot Rock Curling, all you get are the game parts. You don't get any teams included because he includes the system for rating your own players. So as long as you know the shooting percentages of the players, of each player on the team, then you can determine what their ratings are for the game. So I'm going to below the video, I'm going to have links to a couple of websites that have stats from past curling championships. There's one, the Canadian Curling Association has a great website that has all the results from the men's and women's Canadian championships through the years. I can't remember how far back it goes, but offhand. And then there's another website that has some of that, plus some World Championship results and some Olympic results and some other tournament results. Excuse me. And this match I'm going to play is between Ontario and Alberta from the 2013 Canadian Women's Championships. Ontario and Alberta. And I'm going to use the shooting percentages that each player had as their average percentage for the whole tournament. You can use the actual shooting percentage for the particular match that you're going to play. The Canadian Curling Association has the shooting percentages for each match that was in the tournament. So you can use that, but I'm just going to use the average. So I've got the base numbers of the match rating for each player. Like there's 4 players in each team: the lead, the second, the third, and the skip. And then so what we're going to do is roll on this thing called the match rating chart, and it's just basically to see if the player is going to have that rating for the game, or they might have a bit better rating or a bit worse rating. So the 60% chance it's going to be the same rating as they came with. So the first roll is for the Ontario lead is an 88. So on the chart, the match rating chart, you look under the lead, she's a 4, her base rating, and 88. Go over here, shows she's actually downgraded to a 5 for this match. Okay, so the second is a 50, so there's no change there. The third is 61, so there's no change there, so she's going to be a 5. And the skip is 53, and no change there. So for the Alberta team, the lead is a 6. Oops. So 15. So she's actually upgraded to a 5 for this match. So the 6. The second is an 80. So it's the same. The third is the same, and the skip is the same. So, okay, so that's the first part of what you have to do before each game, and now we use those match ratings we just had, and then we determine what the score rating is, the game score rating, which is what is used mostly in the game. So this is the game score rating chart here. And so for each player on the team, we're going to look at the player and their opponent. So the Ontario lead is a 5, and the opponent is also a 5. So 5 and 5 is 86. So they're both going to have a score rating of 86. Okay, for the second, the second is she's a 4. The Ontario second is a 4, and the Alberta second is a 6. So the Ontario second is going to have a score rating of 87. So then we look for the Alberta, she's a 6 versus a 4, and that's 79. So you can see a difference there. The Ontario second score rating is 87, and the Alberta second's rating is a 79. So, okay, so for the thirds, we're looking at the third thing. So it's 5 versus 6. So 5 versus 6 is 77 for the Ontario third, and then 6 versus 5 is 73. And then the skip, so it's 4 versus 7, so it's a 77 for the Ontario skip, and 7 versus 4 is 65 for the Alberta skip. Okay, so now we're ready to play. So in this match, Ontario had the hammer in the first end, which hammer means that they have the last rock. So Alberta throws rocks first, but Ontario has the advantage for having last rock. So in curling, ideally when you have last rock, you want to score more than 1 point. So there are going to be situations that come up where they might only have the opportunity to score 1 point, and there is a phase in this game where you roll on a chart to see if they blank the end or not. Excuse me. Yeah, so in shot rock curling, each end is broken down into phases. There's up to 5 phases in each end, but there's three for sure that you're going to be doing each end, and the other 2 are optional depending on the situation. So the first thing you do is you roll on the the 2d10 to see and look on the influence chart to see which player on the team has the player on the team with the hammer has. So we roll a 45. So we look on the influence chart here. So 45 falls in the range of the third. So the third is the key player for Ontario in this end. So I just wrote down 3 in the influence column, and then we're going to see whether Ontario scores or Alberta's going to try to steal. So what you do is you roll the 2d10 again, and you look at the key player's scoring rating. So in this case, it's a 77, and I rolled a 6. So that means Ontario is going to score. So now we're going to see how many points they're going to score. So what we do is we look at this scoring adjustment chart, and Ontario is 5 versus 6. So 5 versus 6, and the adjustment is +1. So we're going to add 1 to this die roll here, so 93. So that's a big roll, so Ontario is going to get a bunch of points in this end. So that's 94. So now we look on the scoring chart. Where am I here? Sorry. I'm just experimenting with a big tripod for the first time, so I'm just finding out where to hold how close to hold the charts to the camera. So she's a 5. She's rated a 5, and the number is 94. So 94 falls in the 87 to 98 range, and you go over here, and Ontario is going to score 3 points. Now, since they're going to score more than 1 point, I don't bother doing the blank end phase. The blank end phase would only come up if I would only use it if Ontario was going to score 1. So, like I said, instead of scoring 1, they think, okay, we're going to try to blank the end and try to score more points the next end, because we will still have last rock the next end. or you can choose to blank an end if the other team is going to, say, steal 1 point, and maybe the only shot they have is like a takeout where they have to remove the rock from the other team, and then they just roll out, and then they blank the end, and they still keep last rock for next end. Okay, so we go to the next end. Ontario scored first. Ontario scored in that end, so they're going to be throwing first in the second end, so that means Alberta has the hammer. So we look for who the key player in Alberta is. Our roll is 74, so that's the fourth, or the skip. The skip's rating is a 65, so we're going to roll 1 to 65, so we're rolling 85. So that means Ontario is going to steal. So now we look at the scoring adjustment chart. There's a difference of 3 between the match ratings of the two skips. So we're going to be adding 3 to this roll here to see how many points Ontario is going to steal. So a roll of 14 plus 3 is 17. So we look on the scoring chart under the steal section, and the Ontario skip is a 4, rated a 4, and the range is 1 to 68 for 1 point. So Ontario might score 1 point here. So now we do the blank end phase to see maybe Alberta will try to blank the end, and then that'll prevent Ontario from getting a point, and then it would also have Alberta keep last rock for the next end. So, but they have to have maybe the opportunity. So for the blank end phase, there's the rules come with a way to do it, but some discussions came up in the Hot Stove Games Delphi forum about different ways to do it, and even Brian Martin, the developer, chimed in, and he said, yeah, there's a couple of different ways you could do it, so it's just up to the individual gamer. So the method I'm going to use is that if the team is going to steal, and then we're going to add 50 to this next dice roll. The roll is 58, plus 50 is 108, and we're going to look on the blank end chance chart. And the Alberta skip is a 7. And so it's outside the blank end chance, so it's 1 to 71. So Alberta cannot blank the end, so Ontario is going to steal the 1 point. If the dice roll plus the adjustment was plus the modifier was within this 1 to 71 range, then Alberta could choose to blank the end or not. So in that case, they'd probably blank the end. Okay, so it's 4-0 after 2 for Ontario. Alberta has the hammer, so 72. So again, it's the fourth is the key player. 65 is the range for her, so a roll of 54. So Alberta's going to score this end, and the difference is 3, but the Alberta skip is 3 worse than the Ontario skip, so we're going to subtract 3. So the roll is 61. So minus 3 is 58. So we're going to look at with the hammer. She's a 7, right? She's a 7, and that falls within the 1 point range. So I'm just going to write 1 here for now. So she might choose to blank the end here. And if the team with the hammer is going to score, we're only adding 20 to the dice roll instead of 50. So the roll is 30 plus 20 is 50. So that is within the blank end chance. So Alberta is going to choose to blank the end in that case. So it's still 4-0 after 3. And Alberta retains last rock advantage in this fourth end. So influence rain roll is a 12, so that's the lead. This time the lead is an 80. Her score rating is 86. So roll is 65. So they're going to score. And see how many points she's going to score. Okay, she's a 5, and the Ontario one is a 5. So there's no adjustment to this roll here. So 31. So that's probably a 1. That's 1 point. Yeah. So it falls in the 1 point range. So it could be another 1. So we'll go to the blank end phase. The roll is a 2. Add 20 is 22. So it's within the blank end chance again. So Alberta's going to blank the end again. Now in this game, you can only blank 2 ends in a row. So that's the limit. So if this situation comes up in the next end, then Alberta's going to have to take the point instead of blanking it in again. So 53. So we're on to the fifth end. 53 for the influence. That's the third. Third range is 73. And they score. Alberta scores. And she's a 6 and a 5, so it's -1. 96, 95. And she's a 6. So that's 3 points. So here's a perfect illustration of why you want to blank it in. They kept last rock, and then they were patient, and they scored 3 points in the fifth end. So now the game is 4-3 for Ontario, and since they scored 3, I'm not going to bother with the blank end phase. So we'll go to the sixth end. Ontario now has the hammer, and the roll is 99, and that's the skip is the influence. By the way, a roll of 100 in this game is a roll of 0, 0 is 100 in this. Okay, 32. That's within the skip's scoring range, so it's going to be a score for Ontario. And there's a difference of 3, so we're going to add 3. The roll is 58, so that's 61. And she's a 4. So scores 2 points. So here's a good illustration here. In the scoring chart here, the Ontario skip is a 4, and the range for 1 point is 1 to 58. But because of the difference in ability or difference of skill in this game between the skips, there's an adjustment of +3, so that bumps it up into the 2. So you can sort of visualize that as the Alberta skip didn't do so well on one of her shots, which enabled the Ontario team to score more than 1 point. Scored 2 points instead of 1. So Ontario scores 2. So the score is now 6-3 after the sixth end. Alberta now has last rock. The roll is 42. The third has the influence. This roll is 0-6, and Alberta's going to score. And 25. So that's within 1 point. So Alberta's going to score 1, so they might try to blank the end again. So let's see what kind of roll we get here. 64 plus 20 is 84. And that's outside the 1 to 71 range for the blank end chance, so Alberta has to take 1. So now the score is 6-4 for Ontario after 7 ends. Well, this might come up later, we'll see. Okay, so 67 for the influence, so that's the fourth. Ontario, the roll was a 9, so Ontario is going to score. And so add 3 to this roll to 15, so Ontario is going to score 1, but let's see if they might try to blank the end here. So add 20 to this roll here, 26. Okay, so yeah, we have a situation here. It's Ontario can score 1. The roll is within the blank end chance, so Ontario might choose to blank an end and keep last rock for the 9th end, and the score is 6-4, or they could choose to score here and then they'd be leading 7-4 going to the 9th end, but they wouldn't have last rock of the 9th. So I think they're going to try to blank the end here. Yeah, they're going to blank the end. So it's still 6-4 after 8. Okay, so I roll 15 on the influence, so that's the lead this time. And that's the lead in Alberta. Okay, hang on, sorry. I think I wrote the wrong thing down here. Yes. No, Ontario blank game, that's right, so it's Ontario's. So it's 86. 86, okay, so Ontario's going to score. And there's no adjustment because the ratings of the leads are the same. 91. So there we go. It's a 91 with a match rating of 5. That's 3 points. So Ontario scores 3. So again, they choose to blank the end to score more the next end, and then they score more. So the score is now 9-4. So now the handshake chart is going to come into play here. That only comes into play if the score from the 6th end onwards, and if the difference in the score is more than 3. So what we have here is and just let me find it here and make sure I got in camera view. Okay, so the score was what? 9-4. Yeah, 9-4. So we look at this trailing by 5. And with the hammer after the 9th end. Yeah, so it's after the 9th end. Alberta's going to have the hammer in the 10th end. They're down by 5. So there's a 75% chance that they're going to shake hands. Because it's unlikely that they're going to score 5 in one end. But it can happen. So I rolled 15. So Alberta's going to shake hands. They're just going to concede the victory. And Ontario wins 9-4. Yeah, so that's how you play it. That's how you play shot rock curling. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. One thing I just need to mention is that if we did play the 10th end, in the 10th end and any extra end, the 4th or the skip automatically is the key player for the game. So for that particular end. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and get it set up for T-line curling. Okay. Okay, here we go. So now we have T-line curling. It's quite similar. The big difference is that you don't have to look at the ratings of each player on the team. You just look getting the ratings for the team itself. So this game was developed by Michael Owens and Ron Arnst, and they made it available, or it's been available from the tabletopsports.com website. At the moment, this is January 2018. The downloads part of this website isn't available. I guess I understand that they're transitioning to a different website or a different provider or something. So. Hopefully that'll come back at some point, but in the meantime, if you want to email me to get a copy of the game, I'll leave my email address at the bottom below the video. Yeah, so like I said, this game is just based on the team ratings. So what? So you look at the if you're playing, say, a tournament. You would look at the win-loss record of the team during that tournament, including wins from playoff rounds, but you don't include any losses that are in the playoff rounds. So, again, I'm going to be playing the Ontario versus Alberta from the 2013 Canadian Women Championship, and Ontario, I think they won 12 and lost 1 or something like that. So. Their rating is an A, and Alberta was at the bottom of the standings, and their rating is a G. So before you start the game, you take those ratings and then you look at there's a chart here, here it is. If you look at the team rating chart and you look at their winning percentage to get the letters, and then you're going to look at this dice roll adjustment matrix for each dice roll for each end is going to be adjusted by this. So we have a G and an A, and there's 10. So the team with the higher rating, their dice roll adjustment is going to be plus 10, and the lower rated team is going to be minus 10 in this case. So the team in this thing, the team without the hammer rolls. So in this first end, Ontario has the hammer, so Alberta is going to be rolling, and their dice roll adjustment is minus 10. So I'm going to roll 2d10, and the number is 32. We're going to be subtracting 10 from that to get 22. So now I'm going to be looking at this action chart, and we're going to look at, and it goes from minus 10 to 110. So we get a roll of 22, and 22 says H2/H1E. and the asterisk I'll explain later. So H2, H1. So that means that the team with the hammer is going to score 2 points if they roll within the range on the success rate chart. And if they don't roll within their range, then they're only going to score 1 point. And the letter E means you're going to have easy, routine, or difficult. So here, I'll just get the chart up here again. Sorry, so 22, so it's H2, H1E. So we also have the success rate chart, and it depends on what the rating of the team is. So Ontario is an A, and E is easy, so the success rate range is 1 to 95. If it was a routine, so you have other results where it has an R or a D. So easy, routine, and difficult are the 3 types. So easy, routine, difficult, and there's ranges for each. These secondary ranges, if you roll within those, that means, say the numbers before the slash, that means they've made an exceptional shot, and you would just look at the chart below that, and you would look at the original result here, H2, H1, for instance, and you would look at H2, H1 and see. So if they get an exceptional shot, the team with the hammer is going to score 3, but if the number after the slash, in this case, if it was a routine shot and you rolled a 00, which is 100, that would be a terrible shot, and then that would mean that there would be a steal of 1 by the team without the hammer. Okay, so we have H2, H1. It's easy shot and so it's when you're rolling again on the success rate chart, you're rolling for the team that does have the hammer. So Ontario has the hammer. The roll is a 36, so they made their easy shot and they scored 2. Okay, and that's it for an end. Okay, so we go to the next end. Okay, so Ontario. So the team without the hammer roll. So we're going to be looking at Ontario does not have the hammer in the second end. So we're going to be adding 10 to their dice roll here. The dice roll is 71. The result is 81. So it's H1, S1, D. So it's going to be a difficult shot for Alberta, and the difficult range for a G-rated team is 1 to 30. So if they make this shot, they're going to score 1. Otherwise, Ontario is going to score 1. And the roll is a 60. So Ontario steals 1. Okay. Ontario is going to be without the hammer in the third, so you add roll of 70, add 10 to a roll of 80, so it's H1, S1, D again. Difficult shot for Alberta. And a roll of 1. And in the G, where am I here? Okay, yeah, so in the G, a 1 with some of the higher rated teams, a 1 might trigger the exceptional shot, but with a G rated team, they can't make any exceptional shots. So that's H1, so Alberta scores. So it's 3 to 1 after 3 ends. So Alberta doesn't have the hammer, so we're subtracting 10 from this. The roll is a 2. Subtract 10, so that's minus 8. So it's H4, H3, routine. R for routine. So if Ontario makes a shot, they're going to score 4. If they don't, they're still going to score 3. 1 to 80, the roll is 74. So Ontario scores 4. So it's now 7 to 1 after 4 ends. Go to the 5th end. Ontario doesn't have last rock, so we add 10 to this dice roll. So 74, 84 is the result. H1, S1, D. So another difficult shot for Alberta. And they don't make it, so Ontario steals 1. So the score is now 8 to 1. Go to the 6th end. Roll is 92. We add 10 because Ontario doesn't have last rock. So it's S1, S3. So Ontario is definitely stealing in this end. And the letter is E. So it's an easy shot for Alberta. And the easy range for a G-rated team is 1 to 55. They don't make it. So Ontario scores 3, steals 3. So now they're up. The score is now 11 to 1. So after 6 ends. So now we go to the handshake chart. There's a handshake chart for this game. Handshake chart for this game. Similar thing, behind by 4, 5, 6, 7 or more. And depending on which end you've completed. So you've completed 6 ends. They're down by more than 7. And so the quit range is 1 to 40, and they have the hammer, so there's no adjustment there to that range. If they didn't have the hammer, say if they're without the hammer, then you would take that range and subtract 10 from it. So 1 to 40, and Alberta's going to shake hands. So roll of 77, so we're going to keep going. Okay, so we're into the 7th end now. Roll is 4, and we add 10, so that's 14. So Alberta is going to score here. So H3, H1D. So they're going to score something here. And the roll is 18. So Alberta scores 3. So it's 11 to 4 now for Ontario. Again, we look at the handshake chart. They're still down by 7. And we've completed 7 ends. So the quit range is 1 to 55, but they don't have the hammer. So the quit range is now 1 to 45. And we roll a 96, so we're going to keep going. Okay, the roll is 94. Alberta doesn't have last rock, so we're subtracting 10 this time. So it's H1, S1D. So it's a difficult shot for Ontario. The difficult range for Ontario is 1 to 65. And they do it. Yeah, so it's H1, S1D, so Ontario scores 1. So the score is now 12 to 4. So we go back to the handshake chart. Still 7 plus. We've completed 8 ends. The quit range is 1 to 90. And they do have the hammer. There's no adjustment if they have the hammer. So 1 to 90, they're going to shake hands. So they shake hands. This makes sense. Since that game was pretty quick, I'm going to play another match here with 2 for more evenly matched teams, and maybe we'll get the team strategy. The strategy role might come up. So I'm going to play Ontario and Manitoba, and they were both rated A for that tournament. They're both at the top of the standings, and the dice roll adjustment is +5 for each. So let's say Ontario has the hammer, so first end, Manitoba, it's +5 for both teams, so it doesn't really matter. So the roll is 54. So 59 is the result. So 59 is H1, S1, E. E is 1 to 95, H1, so Ontario scores 1. Okay, second end, 33 +5 is 38. H2, H1D. Difficult range is 65. So they don't make the shot, so they only get score 1 instead of 2. So the third end, it's 1-1, 92, 97. So it's blank S2, D. Difficult shot, 65, they make it. So Ontario blanks the end. So it's 1-1, still 1-1 after 3, 91. So 96, blank S2, R. R is routine. The range is 1 to 80. The roll is 62. So Ontario blanks the end again. So it's still 1-1 after 4. The roll is 22 +5 is 27. So H2, H1R. Routine is 1 to 8. Range is 1 to 80. The roll is 45. Excuse me. So Ontario scores 2. So it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1 for Ontario after 5. 43 plus 5 is 48. Blank H1R. So routine is 1 to 80. Yep. So Manitoba blanks the end. Go to the 7th end. 7. 12. H3, H1R. And the roll is 52. That's within the routine range. So Manitoba scores 3. So it's now 4 to 3 for Manitoba after 7 ends. Roll is 16 plus 5 is 21. H2, H1E. H2, H1E. And the roll is 17, so they make that. So Ontario scores 2. So it's 5 to 4 for Ontario after 8. And the 9th end, 41 plus 5 is 46. Blank H1. Easy. Blank. So Manitoba blanks the end. So it's 5 to 4 for Ontario after 9 ends, but Manitoba has last rock. So this is advantageous for Manitoba. And we'll roll. Whoops, the dice rolled off the end of the table here. So I'm just going to roll the 1. I know there was a discussion on a thread on Delphi recently about what happens if one of your die or both your die rolls off the table. And I'm one of these people. I'll just re-roll the die that fell off. I'm not going to re-roll all the die. So 22 plus 5 is 27. H2, H1R. So Manitoba's going to score. So they're either going to tie or they're going to win the game here with a routine shot. 1 to 80, and they roll a 90. So they don't make the shot. So they only score 1 with the hammer. So it's now 5-5. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. In the last end, if the score is tied or if there's just a 1 point difference, then we use a different scoring chart. There's actually a last end chart and a last end shot result chart. So just bear with me a second. I just got to review about how to do that. Okay, so we roll for the team without the hammer, and that is Ontario. And there's no dice roll adjustment. I'm referring to the last end chart. Okay, so we roll. The roll is a 67. Ontario's, where are we here? Okay, Ontario's an A. So you get easy, routine, or difficult. So roll a 67, so it's a difficult. So that means that Manitoba is going to have a difficult shot. We're going to be looking at the last end shot result chart. So we're going to look at, so the roll is 74. Now for a difficult, because it's a difficult shot, we have to subtract 10 from this roll, so it's a 64. 64. Manitoba's rating A, and 64 falls in the H2 range. So Manitoba scores 2 with a hammer in the last end and wins it 6-5. So that was good. I wanted to show you that we had a close game, so we got to show you how the last end works differently than the rest of the ends. The only thing that didn't come up is, excuse me, in this game is one of these ratings where there's an asterisk beside the numbers. So what happens there? So let's just say it happened in this end, and if that happens and it's in the 6th end and onwards, then you're going to be looking at a strategy chart. So okay, so say we roll 59, and the result is H1 S1E with an asterisk. So so what you do is look on this strategy sheets here, and I guess first you have to look to see what the condition, if it meets these conditions. So so you wouldn't use it in the 10th end if the score was tied or if there was a difference of 1. So let's just say it was the 9th end and the difference in score is 1. That would meet the condition. So that what you would do is you would take the rating of the hammer team and the rating of the team without the hammer, and you get a dice range. And you roll your 2d10, and that's the dice range for the team without the hammer to go to this strategy decision chart. So say we rolled a 45. And so the team without the hammer is going to the strategy chart. So, sorry. Here we are. So say it's the 9th, and it's a difference of 1. And then you would have to see which section of the chart to look at. So it depends on whether the team has the hammer or not, and whether they're ahead or behind. So let's say the team without the hammer is ahead. You would roll a 2d10, and for the most part, if they're ahead and they don't have the hammer, for the most part, there's an 80% chance they're going to be playing defensively for this particular shot. So let's say you roll a 30. So it's you're looking in the defense thing. So the next thing you do is you look on the strategy result chart, and you look at the original dice roll, which was 59, we said, H1S1. And yeah. So then it's the team without the hammer, and they're playing defensively, and it changes from an H1S1 to a blank H1 with a difficult rating, and then you would just proceed like you would normally. So, so there's so that only comes up when if it's the 6th end and onwards, and if there's certain conditions as shown by the strategy decision chart. Like if you had a close game in the 6th or 7th end, the difference of score is 2 or less, then you wouldn't be using this chart, and so you would just use the original result from the chart, the action chart. Yeah, I think that's about it for that game. So like I said, as you can see, very easy to play, very easy to learn, set up. It's available for free. You can email me and I can send you a copy. And for now, or hopefully it'll be up at on the tabletopsports.com website again. And anyway, I hope this gives you an idea how those two games play. Both fun, and you can go through a replay of an entire tournament, like a national championship or world championship, fairly quickly. Well, it's not going to take you 1 or 2 hours, but it's going to take you not an inordinate amount of time. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.